Okay, so now, so that's, I think, I'm in New York State, and if anyone's interested in helping us, please speak with me or anyone afterwards who's from New York State. That would be Matt, or you can talk to Ori about it, I'm sure, or Ann. We have a campaign to do community organizing and organizing of every human rights group to fight for the freedom of the New York State political prisoners, and we can talk about that. I don't have time to go through it right now, but you will hear about it in the future. But here we are at a yearly pilgrimage of at least one broad sector of the U.S. left, the Left Forum. And we have panels this year, and that's exciting. There are, I think, 6 panels about prisoners and political prisoners. And that's, I think, a first. There may have been some before, but I could never find them. And so, you know, if the left in this country ignores prisoners, they're ignoring a huge part of repression in this country. If they ignore political prisoners, then what does it say about the kind of left that we're building? And I think Matt spoke to that some. But I think that we have to really fight to expand it and to talk to people who are in the left about what they could get out of supporting political prisoners and fighting for release. Because it's not about a charity. It's about doing something for the heart of the struggle. To have a movement that says we are oppositional, not just in word, but in deed. And if that is not taken on by the left in this country, then we lose, then everyone loses. And, you know, I always say this, in Europe, in Latin America, in Palestine, every left includes the demand for release of political prisoners. It's part of their demands for change. And we understand that it's not a reform that we're asking for if we ask for the release of political prisoners. We're asking for a re-envisioning of justice where there could actually be some equality. And we're also asking for freedom of people who fought with their lives to change things in this country. So, and if we don't do that as a movement, if the movement doesn't do that, then they're saying we will allow our comrades to be abandoned, to be left behind. And I don't think we want that kind of left. So I'm living for the day when I hear that the Left Forum is happening and the opening plenary has some of these folks on it, and where the left stands up as one and says, yes, we found our backbone again. We are going to fight for the fallen comrades from our movements, because underneath all the rest of what we talk about, we are actually revolutionary. So I want to say one last thing. I know that there will be announcements about events. There are a lot of events. But one that probably won't be talked about much is for my comrade and co-defendant Alan Berkman. If people don't know who he is, he's in the book. And he is a doctor, and he went to prison, and he was part of the case I was part of, which is the resistance conspiracy. And he came out and he started to fight for people with HIV. And he created an organization called Health Gap. And GAP stands for Global Access, Susie? Global Access Project. Yeah, I never remember what it stands for, even though I'm in the field of AIDS. And, you know, I could get into AIDS and why the left in this country doesn't particularly include it in its platform either, and the fact that there are people dying of AIDS in the United States because they don't have access to care either. But in the days, in 1999, when Alan and other people founded Health Gap, around the world people didn't have access to treatment. And so that's what it was founded for. Alan is now battling his 5th case of lymphoma and his first case of a form of leukemia. And his organization decided this was the time, while he's doing sort of better for a little while, to give him an honorary tribute. And I would like to invite anyone who's either in New York, can make it to New York on May 21st to come to that. And I wanted to talk about it, I'm sorry taking this time, because it doesn't say on there that he was a political prisoner, because it's a Health Gap event, but it's a time to come. So that's it for me.